Wanted to give a basic overview on electrical panels, especially when it pertains to electric heaters, or even just the equipment that you use in a heat treatment or even on a construction project. You know, whether you're a construction professional who's more not as familiar with electric, having the right amount of power for our systems is very crucial. Otherwise, you can either overheat a cord, you can continue to trip breakers, get very frustrated, or even pull too much power from the panel. So basic overview, you have a main breaker. This one in particular it's indicated by a number on the switch itself. So you'll see different numbers. This one says 200. So this particular panel has an overall power availability of 200 amps. If you exceed that, you could fry the breaker to a point where it doesn't work anymore. You could shut off all the power to the entire residence or the structure that you're working on, and it may not come back on because at a certain point they can fail after overheating or too many times of you tripping it. In addition to that, you have all your individual breakers. Now, what confuses people is if you add all these numbers up, you, let's say, may have 400 or 500 amps total with adding all of these breakers together. You still can't go past the 200 amps. So if you go past that, and if you try and utilize all the power on all these breakers at the same time, the panel's going to shut down and you're not going to be able to use it. It's going to render it completely useless. So when you're going to, let's say, power an electric heater, we have a product called the C4 electric heater, and that requires 4 15-amp breakers. So what I like to do when I come into a residence, to make sure that I have the right amount of power, I'll go through and I'll look and I'll say, oh, the basement bedroom has a 15-amp breaker. The washing machine plug-in has 20 amps. So I go through and I'll identify at least 4 15-amp breakers, and then I'll find the corresponding power outlet and plug it into those outlets. And I know that I have enough power and I'm not going to trip breakers. And then in addition to that, if I keep adding pieces of equipment, I make sure that I'm staying below my 200 amps of power. So first thing I do with any project, and as you should do yourself, is go through and check all the breaker panels. Not all of them have labels on it. Sometimes you may run into a situation where it's poorly labeled, or Uncle Jim ran another 5 outlets off a similar circuit and you're losing your mind because you're tripping breakers. You can always go back to the panel and see which one that you're tripping, and you can test it that way. It's not as optimal, but generally speaking, most newer panels are labeled, and then you can go through and make sure that you're spreading your power out, because if you run 4 15-amp circuits on one from a heater on one 20-amp breaker, you're constantly going to be tripping it. You'll never keep the heater on. So always check your power panel before hooking up any of our electric heater equipment, or even our gas heater equipment with a number of fans to it. It'll avoid a lot of frustration and make sure that you have a successful treatment or a successful project where your equipment isn't constantly shutting off.